This video is available with a French audio, link in the description box or in the corner of the screen. I've been wanting to talk about this for so long. Okay, so picture this. You're watching a TV show, reading a manga, or playing a video game. And there's this specific character. And the more you're enjoying that piece of media, the more this character sticks to the back of your mind. It gets to a point where even when you're done with that piece of media, you're not watching, reading, or playing anymore, this character keeps coming back to your mind. Whether they're funny or stoic, they're very friendly or cold and more distant. Whether they're part of the main cast or just one of these very obscure characters you've seen once in the background of the scene and never again. Whether they're a cheating level of overpower or just the weakest character in the whole universe. The kindest soul or the most sick, twisted, inhuman mind you've ever encountered. No matter how popular or underrated this character is, this character feels special to you. In fact, so special that by now, you haven't even realized it has been years since you're done with that original media that character comes from. Yet, they still appear as one of, if not your favorite character. You like them so much that if you're an artist, you've been drawing countless of fan arts of them, even going as far as to consider this character your muse. If you have to warm up, sketch something real quick, test out some new brushes, whatever, this specific face is the first thing that comes to your mind and to your canvas. In fact, you've drawn them so many times that this character kind of feels like one of your OCs. At this point, do you even need references? Their face, body, outfit, gesture, it's all printed in your mind. You've even added some little twists to their original design, some earrings, a scar here, a specific piece of clothing, a different hairstyle. Anything to make this character closer to the way you envision them. A new version of this character based on you, made from you, and who exists only thanks to you. You've made your own character out of this character. If you like writing or reading, you've had countless of fanfictions and headcanons about them. You know this character so much that they're like one of your family members, one of your friends, or even for the bravest of us who are willing to admit it, your secret crush. Whether you like to ship them, keep them single, or even make OCX canon content, this character is your little precious, and you would do anything to keep them happy. Well, at least most of us would, because some of y'all really enjoy some angsty content, and I'm not here to judge, but some happiness won't hurt. If you're into other crafts such as cosplay, merch art, 3D or 2D animation, whatever it is, you've had so many adventures with them through the month and even years of creating content around them. And even for those in the back of the class who are not very creative, come on, don't be shy. We all know about your Pinterest board filled with hundreds upon hundreds of pictures of this very same character. The Twitter banner and the profile picture of your secondary account, and all the fan artists you're following there. And don't even get me started on all the saved edits in your secret TikTok folder. You aren't fooling anyone. I've seen you, Fujoshis and other doujinshis enjoyers. I know what you are. We'll have a conversation later, you and me. Oh, and don't you think I forgot about you, Gunners and Gunnet of the Overwatch Rule 34? Yep, that's right, I'm talking to you. Have some time out to reflect on yourself. Anyways, this special character is now part of your daily life. They're part of your world. From your laptop wallpaper to the plushie sitting on your bed, the figure topping on your bookshelf. And now it has been years of your For You page being regularly filled with that very familiar face that comes from this piece of media released a decade ago. Sounds like you? Well, you're in the right spot, buddy. This topic has been in my draft for a while now because it is so fascinating and confusing at the same time. Why am I so obsessed with a non-existent character? Is there something wrong with me? Spoiler alert, maybe. As someone who went through these phases and is pretty much still going through one at the moment, I wanted to know and get to the root of this phenomenon. What exactly is a comfort character? How does a character become one? And why do we react and feel so strongly about them? What in the world is a comfort character? So, first thing first, to make sure we're on the same page, we need some actual definition. What the heck is a comfort character? I've run into so many people around social medias, especially on Twitter, talking about these comfort characters, but let's seek for an actual definition, okay? So, according to Urban Dictionary, a comfort character is when a character, which can be from a TV show, game, book, etc., makes you feel safe and happy when upset, sad, down, etc. Well, that's pretty basic, right? Let's look for another one. A fictional character that you're immensely attached to. People with comfort characters tend to fantasize scenarios in their heads with the comfort character, giving them a feeling of wellness and comfort. Most people genuinely adore their comfort character and use them to cope with their mental difficulties. Well, that's already a bit more interesting. On fanlore.org, they say, a comfort character is a term used in a fandom to describe a fictional character that brings emotional support, comfort, and solace to a fan. Having a comfort character can be linked to emotional bonding or having a parasocial relationship with the characters. Remember that will be important for later. Fans interact with media, either canonical or fan-made, involving their comfort characters to find relief in stressful periods. Comfort characters also inspire and provide strength to fans. Based on this fanlore site and also dictionary.com, both sources mention that the term started being used around 2020 and could originate from Tumblr. Something very interesting is the South Park fandom website dives a bit deeper in the definition, sourcing some Reddit threads, and first it established a link between the term comfort character and the neurodivergent community, even suggesting that the concept might actually originate from this very specific community. Second, it mentioned the possibility of one projecting themselves onto the comfort character, and it raises some question for me, but we'll get back to it a bit later. There is also some mentions of self-shipping with the comfort character, and as much as I would love to talk about Yume ships and OCX canon content here, I'll save that for another video. Study Breaks magazine even talks about how comfort character can help people manage intense episodes such as anxiety attack or panic episode. And I'll quote, "For some, comfort characters are so real that even just thinking about them, rewatching their scenes, reading fanfictions, or otherwise engaging with them can help stave off anxiety attacks, calm down during panic episodes, or simply provide a hand to hold onto during difficult times." On Reddit, we make the distinction between favorite character and comfort character. Under the r/rspeed memes, user Crass Procrastinations writes, "The reason behind a character becoming a comfort character can vary widely. It may be due to the character's personality traits, relatability, or the positive emotions associated with their story arc. People often form strong emotional connections with these characters, finding a source of reassurance and escape in their narratives." Under the r/no stupid questions, another user asked the same question, even mentioning how some people have been accused of ableism for not respecting others' comfort characters. And this was one of the answers. I think it has to do with attachment, touched from being your favorite character into getting super invested with them and their quote-unquote life. Their actions to the point where it's just comforting. They become really important, if that makes sense. I mean, you don't have to exactly relate to them, but you see their quote-unquote situations or them, and you feel either empathy, joy, etc. I don't know. If I have a comfort character, I'll just randomly relate things to them. I don't know, to be honest. And yeah, me neither. But at this point, I definitely feel like we got a pretty solid definition. And also, I can't help but notice how it's funny because sometimes even real people can be turned into or compared to comfort characters. In this case, I'm mainly coming from the art community, but I've seen countless of accounts dedicated to either a live-action TV show character or some artists or public figures or else. For example, you know that Olympic ice skater Alicia Liu, when she literally broke the internet and I could only see her in my feed? Or just it happens a lot in the K-pop fandom, for example. It is not uncommon to run into conversations like these. And as much as I'd like this to be a troll or just them messing around, if you see something concerning in that exchange, don't worry, we'll get back to it later. Just keep this picture in mind. So in all this, it raises the question, can real people be comfort characters? And according to Quora, the answer is most likely no. Been there, done that. Since I yapped so much about others' comfort characters, it's only fair for me to talk about mine. And because I won't allow anyone to expose me but myself, here I come. By the way, if you don't want to hear me yap about my favorite 3D animated pixels, you can skip to the next section. I won't be mad. I lied. I would be very disappointed. It is my channel. What are you doing here on my page if you don't want to hear me yap about things? As someone who grew up reading mangas, watching animes, and playing video games in the early 2000s, I had tons of favorite characters. Waifus, husbandos, little babies I need to protect, and others, but the concept of comfort character never really crossed my mind before. The first time I encountered this term was around 2020, during the COVID era, and it was around games such as Genshin Impact or Animal Crossing. At first, I really didn't get the concept because I didn't even know if I had the character I loved that could be compared to one, and it took me a while to realize it, but yes, actually I've had one. There is one character who holds a special spot in my heart, and he helped me go through phases in my life from my childhood to my early teenage years. He was even the center of many personal projects and is a very emblematic figure in my own journey with video games, drawing, and basically anything related to my hobbies in general. I've had so much love for this character that I actually consider him as one of my first crushes, not to say my first love. I kind of had this fanfiction roleplay headcanon phase with him, and also my very first OC ever came from the video game he was from, and of course I had to ship her with him without even knowing the concept of a ship or OCX canon back then, which is very funny. And all this was a phase that only lasted up until my early to mid teenage years, and I kind of forgot about it. Plus, I played less and less the game, and back then this character only appeared in one of the games in the whole game license. And yes, of course, okay, I'm talking about Ventus from the Kingdom Hearts series, not Roxas, but Ventus specifically. And I was 10 years old, he was my husband, we even had a daughter together, leave me alone, okay? And like I said, my interest for the game slowly died down, especially in between releases, and even if I know that by now he appears in other episodes in the Kingdom Hearts saga, I'm not up to date with the lore. I still haven't finished Kingdom Hearts 3. I know, throw rocks at me, I know, but please, like, no spoiler, because I need to take time, like, mentally to prepare to finish the game, so that's another story, I digress. But like I was saying, it was a bit long ago, and I kinda forgot what it felt like to be obsessed with a specific character. Now that I was a teen and later a young adult, I didn't really think about Ventus and Kingdom Hearts that much anymore, and I still had plenty of husbandos, but it was different. None of them really stuck with me like Ventus did, and my phase of being so obsessed and focused on something, for these new husbandos, it could last for maybe 1 or 2 months and then fade away. I've had K-pop biases, and that was that was something else, because my K-pop Korea boo K-pop fan era was something too. That's another topic, and it really took me a while to get back into being invested into another pixelated being. And then he came. The first character who got me into creating a new OC for years, writing fanfictions, drawing fan arts, making and buying merch, bonding with friends over roleplay, AUs like alternative universe and fan contents. There he was. Kaya. Yep. Yep, as a former Genshin content creator, that phase lasted for about like 2 years maybe? But that was the very first step on a very long road. For the few who knew me during my Kaya phase, and by the way, my phone wallpaper is actually still a fan art of him that I got from that period of time. So yeah, that was a bit intense, okay? But this is literally nothing compared to the 2 other characters that I'm going to talk about right now. See, I've never had a female character I would really simp for or love to a very special level. Like, don't get me wrong, Aqua was a big sister figure for me. Hatsune Miku forever my first waifu, first cosplay, first figurine I started collecting, posters, plushies, I'm a big fan, I even went to a concert, I love her. Takanashi Rika forever in my heart, but none of them come even close to Sango no Miyakokomi. And to be honest, I've had a pretty rocky relationship with Kokomi, especially at the beginning. To make it extra short, me save for the design from the leaks. Design from the leaks changed. Me like to do damage. Kokomi not only healer but just like no crit damage ever. Me secretly farmed to get Kokomi level 90 day 1 and fully build, and me lost 50-50 to Kichin. And Kokomi only comes, I kid you not, at the 89th wish. It just like broke me. I feel like something in me died this day. And yet, if there is one single character who was the first that I called my wife in my entire quarter century of life, it has to be her. Trust me, I love Genshin characters. Mr. Alberich, my husband. Back then, I even used to say that the day he betrays Mondstadt, I'll be in the front row, right at his sides. I'd be like right here with him. I love Beidou. I love Xinyan. She was actually the character who got me back into cosplay after years, if not decades, of just a break in like cosplaying. I love Kazuha. I love Albedo. But guys, none of them compared to her excellency. Oh my gosh, I love her so much. Oh my god. And the second one, because yes, I mentioned 2 characters at the beginning, so the second one is none other than, I guess you noticed, Gecko from Valorant. Don't even ask why, because myself, I literally don't know how I ended up so obsessed with him. But it was crazy because one day there was leaks of his design and I was like, meh. And the next day I was just like giggling and kicking my feet like a schoolgirl, listening to his voice lines.
Pero like, why can't we just hug it out?
It doesn't make sense. There's nothing that makes sense about this. But yeah, if there is one character who actually fits the best definition of my comfort character, it has to be him. I guess it's really him. And I'm going to make it way shorter than when I spoke about Kokomi, but for both of these 2, making an OC to ship with, checked. Writing headcanons, one-shots, and fanfiction, checked. Buying merch, checked. Using them as muses and go-to character to draw, checked. And I talk about these 2 simultaneously because both of them have a specific thing in common, which is I started using character AI and building storylines about them on it. Yes, I'm one of these. Yes, I was very addicted. Yes, I will talk about this another day. Yes, there is absolutely no doubt that my affection toward these 2 characters has been heavily influenced by the month, if not years, of using character AI and building stories about them. And no, I did not write as myself, but as different OCs to create fanfictions, roleplay sessions, basically build stories and headcanons about them. I'm not into self-insert or Yume shipping, and even like fandom shippings in general. My main thing is pretty much OCX canon content, but yeah, don't worry. Like I said, I'll dive into the whole shipping culture another day. To make it short, character AI. So, I've been yapping a lot about myself, and now that you know a bit too much about me and I don't feel so great about it, let's get back on tracks. When the comfort characters take over the world. Despite having my fair share of experiences with my own comfort characters, like I mentioned earlier, some discourse around that topic made me raise an eyebrow more than once. I feel like some artists, mangakas, studios, writers, companies don't really get or grasp the impact their characters have on their communities and fandoms. Let me tell you, some characters are straight up as popular as some K-pop idols, and I'm not even kidding about it. You don't believe me? Okay, take Satorugojo or Bakugo Katsuki. Now we're talking, right? So place them in a pick one, drop one situation challenge against some, let's say, Stray Kids members or 80s members, and now let's go ask some teenagers to play that game. You'd be very surprised. Jokes aside, as I was scrolling on social medias, I happened to run into some of these screenshots, and I don't think I've been the only one to have seen these. Back then, I just shared it with a friend and had a good laugh about it, and I'd be lying if I said I don't consider that a new life goal to become, let's say, a gecko fan artist and get one of these DMs someday, but that's beside the point. So yes, as much as this exists too. And no matter how much I love my comfort characters, I still found these screenshots pretty crazy, to be honest. And a little bit funny too, like very funny actually. But yeah, more seriously, what gets someone to actually claim ownership over a character that isn't even theirs? Aside from how ridiculous these claims sound, it got me thinking, is having comfort characters actually healthy? When you get people such as Feeling Lovers who tweet this, or even a Reddit thread of a desperate man telling how his girlfriend seems to be falling in love with a fictional character, and that story is pretty sad, to be honest. And yes, it's always Gojo, isn't it? I don't know what's so special about this guy, but like... I've even seen some people get defensive over comfort characters or get into fights. For example, this Reddit user talks about how uncomfortable they feel when their comfort character is quote-unquote mischaracterized, which could be pretty abstract since it is based on their own perception of this character. Some people even talk about fictophilia, but let's not go ahead of ourselves and let's go back to our researches, right? So, back to the initial r/uspeed memes, user Crass Procrastination we read from earlier added something very interesting about how having a comfort character could actually be a coping mechanism. And I quote, "Engaging with a comfort character can serve as a coping mechanism during challenging times, providing a sense of familiarity and understanding. These characters may be a source of inspiration, encouragement, or simply a way to unwind and find solace in a fictional world. The concept of comfort characters is subjective and personal, as different individuals find comfort in different fictional personalities based on their unique preferences and experiences." User Lactime3, I think it's supposed to be like time, but whatever. This person here mentions admits special needs, projection, and even quote-unquote relationships with these comfort characters. And does this remind you of something? Yup, the fandom article from earlier. Since we know the comfort character concept is very related to the neurodivergent community, certain people are more inclined to develop codependency and unhealthy attachment. On Quora, one person asked, "Is it good to have comfort characters?" And these were some very interesting answers. Jessica Valles replied with nuance, starting with yes, but adding some caution later on with, "But if this character needs to be carried around into everyday life, it has ceased to become a comfort. It has now moved into dependency. If you are dependent on this character to get through everyday life, it is time to seek help." And the Quora bot, which let's ignore the elephant in the room, but the Quora bot itself gave a very interesting response, giving out some pretty convincing arguments on both sides, pretty much explaining how and why it can be helpful for emotional regulation or safe attachment, for example, and when it can be dangerous in case of social withdrawal or distorted expectation, for example. and giving also some advice on how to use comfort character in a healthy way and when to seek for help. That in itself was a pretty long answer, and I won't read it out loud, but if you're interested, you can pause to read it, or you can check the link of the article below. I put all the sources in the description box. You know, the more I was digging into that topic, the more sources and articles popped out. When dealing with comfort characters, the line between reality and make-believe is often uncertain. Reading has been studied to bring down level of stress by up to 68%, and its narrative brings in greater empathy and understanding. However, there is a large difference between using these stories for a greater emotional connection and dissociation from reality, an article from the sciencesurvey.com says. And hey, focus up, okay? I know that's a lot of words, I know that's a lot of reading and stuff, but focus up, okay? You do want to beat the Gen Alpha 3-second attention spans and negation, right? Or maybe should I play some clip of Subway Surfer below to ease you? Yeah, no, that's what I thought. So, back on the topic, focus up, okay? Replying to the question about getting defensive over a character's depiction, this article, still from the Science Survey, has an answer. It's this comforting and emotional experience, but also artistic and analytical. When we talk about a character, we're talking about words on a page or images on a screen that we then construct into an understanding of this character. And that's why different segments of fandoms can have such different interpretation of the same character. It's because we're picking and choosing what gets incorporated into our understanding of who the character is. That ties in, interestingly, with your idea of comfort character. It is something that we are constricting and focusing on. And it feels like this topic can be a bit divisive sometimes. Medium.com's article seems to be in line with a more extreme take of the comfort character, going as far as to talk about how characters genuinely save lives. And as much as that article can be a very interesting point of view, in my humble opinion, it still needs a lot of nuances on the topic, especially about the effective dependency and all the psychological implications of having such deep feelings towards a fictional character, either as a coping mechanism or an anchor to one's life. Especially when so many people have some actual testimonies of struggling with this intense affection. There is an article on the Prospector website that dives a bit deeper into it. While these characters can make shows entertaining, potential detriment surface if an individual becomes too affixed. Connecting to a character portrayed in the media guides individuals to solely view them through a favorable lens. When this character makes morally wrong decision, many tend to brush it off, as the positives that viewers connect to often outweigh the negatives. Karen Dill Shackelford, PhD, psychologist and member of the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, conducted a research on this phenomenon. And she said, on the flip side, retaining a comfort character can harbor detrimental effects when an individual is too engrossed in the fantasy. Relying heavily on these characters to get through difficult moments is a great risk of emotional and psychological harm, especially when the main character is killed or when the real-world actor is nothing like the character they portray. Cases such as this, when the character becomes the only source of comfort in a person's life, can lead to highly unhealthy attachment for a person and dissociation from real-world experiences. So yeah, besides defending a character's action to the point of being blindsided and refusing to acknowledge their wrongdoings or undermining them, like we've seen before, there is a real risk of codependency. Dr. Dill Shackelford is also mentioned in another article, this time from the Refinery29 website. Just like the fanlore article, she defines the comfort character's relationship as parasocial and even one-sided. Deborah Kisson, PhD and another member of the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, hints at how affection towards a comfort character varies from one person to another, could be related to how deeply we probe into things in our lives in general. Which makes sense given the tight link with the neurodivergent community. I also found an answer that might be interesting, more specifically related to the real life people case, and I'll let you post to read if you're interested in that. And judging by the comment section of this article, let's say it's a bit rough. So ultimately, going back to the study break magazines, this article right here sums up pretty well the risk of an unhealthy attachment to a comfort character. And here is some interesting advice I found on the Quora page I mentioned before that could be helpful if you're struggling with that. Last but not least, I have an interesting study that shows how, I quote, losing yourself inside the world of a fictional character can affect your own behavior, decision, and thought process to match that of the character. I won't dive too much into it because, funnily enough, I thought it felt a bit off topic or too specific. It mentioned, for example, how people could feel more supportive or less judgmental over a character they don't really relate to, and how it could affect them being less judgmental and more supportive in real life toward people in similar situations than the character they like. But yeah, like I said, that was very specific. Nonetheless, that was very interesting. So, like all the other links, it's below in the description box if you want to have a look. Okay, so in conclusion, is we okay? Yes, we is. Is we normal? Well, I don't know. Most of us are. Maybe yeah, maybe no. Is loving Sonic the Hedgehog bad? No. Is having a Sonic the Hedgehog body pillow? Like everything, you just have to find some healthy balance. Stick to reading crazy amounts of fanfiction, enjoying fan arts and buying merch, and you're fine. Now, if it starts getting too much space in your personal life and in your mind, affecting your relationships and interactions, you might want to slow down a bit. And maybe even seek for some professional help, more specifically if you find yourself in distress. Also, don't get into fights with 19 Armor 13 on Twitter over Peach's original hair color. It's not worth it. And who the frick has Peach as a comfort character anyway? So, I'm done for today. Please let me know what you think of my very first commentary type video. Tell me about your comfort character and how you found them, stories about them. Feel free to share any artist or fan content you enjoy below. I'll be so thrilled to read your comments. And if you have any Gecko or Kokomi content to share with me, I'm all ears. Just please don't include some ship content. That's all for me, and yeah, I'll see you around. Been recording for so long. I hope you enjoyed my yapping session. If you want to see more of my content, you can take a look at my YouTube channel. And by the way, let me remind you that if you subscribe, you'll join the club of the super cool people called the Golden Potatoes, and it gives you extra charisma points. It is proven. If you want to say hi, you can do it in the comment section or elsewhere on my other social medias. Everything is in my link tree down in the description box. And if you want to support me, I have a Ko-fi link in the description box as well, where you can give me a tip. Of course, it is if you want to and if you can. Either way, I am so happy that you watched my video, and it already is a lot for me. So thank you so much. If you want to see more updates on what I'm working on at the moment, I give you free updates on my Ko-fi as well. Thank you for coming. I'll see you in the next video, and I give you a very big kiss on your forehead.